The United States has condemned Hamas's attack on Israel. President Joe Biden spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by phone on Saturday, promising to offer support. The flare-up between Israel and Hamas is also affecting the wider geopolitics in the Middle East. Owen Fairclough reports.
The United States considers itself Israel's most stalwart ally, and within hours of Israel and Hamas engaging in what both sides are calling a war, US President Joe Biden had a very robust statement in support of Israel.
You know, when I spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning, I told him the United States stands with the people of Israel in the face of these terrorist assaults. Israel has the right to defend itself and its people, full stop.
Joe Biden reaffirming a decades-old alliance between the US and Israel that's girded by billions of dollars of annual financial aid to Israel to help protect itself against what it considers its chief antagonist in the Middle East, Iran, and indeed its proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas, and to a large extent, the US's antagonists in the region as well. But Joe Biden's relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu belies this close alliance, a decades-old alliance that many consider a friendship between Biden and Netanyahu has been strained in recent months, not least because of US complaints about Israel's continuing to expand settlements in the West Bank, and indeed the judicial reforms initiated by Netanyahu that brought thousands of Israelis out onto the streets in protest. And the relationship between the US and Israel is arguably complicated by the growing diplomatic role of Saudi Arabia. The US, Israel, and Saudi Arabia have been working to normalize relations between the Saudis and the Israelis, in the words of the Biden administration, to integrate Israel into the Middle East. But the normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel was supposedly contingent upon Israel agreeing to recognize Palestinian statehood. That appears to be shifting somewhat, with the Saudis complicating matters by demanding some kind of security guarantees from the United States. To some, that could be akin to a NATO-style mutual defense agreement, but it isn't clear how far either side were willing to go with that, and it's certainly not clear now, in the wake of this conflict between Israel and Hamas, where those negotiations stand. There's also a personal dilemma for Joe Biden as he eyes re-election in 2024 as the US president. He's been trying to restrain Netanyahu with those aforementioned judicial reforms, but he's trying to be careful not to do anything that would give his Republican opponents an argument that he's somehow anti-Israel, with the Jewish vote here in the United States so critical to both Republicans and Democrats. So Biden has to consider how to proceed in the wake of this latest conflict as he thinks about re-election in 2024. Owen Fairclough, CGTN, Washington.